Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Duke, and welcome to The Takeaway. Back together again with Alex Newman. Alex, your journalism has been so impactful over the last few months. Today's story is absolutely no different. We have a situation in little tiny Bourbon, Missouri, where little sixth graders are being asked about their gender and sexual preference, all without notifying the parents about this. Give us a little background, Alex.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Duke. It's a pleasure to be with you. And, a couple months ago, we talked about these intrusive surveys that were being distributed in New York, where they were asking the kids if they felt like transgenders, if they wanted to change sex, if they did drugs, if their parents scream in the home, and so on and so forth. And I think the response from a lot of people was, well, yeah, that might happen in New York. That might happen in California, maybe Illinois, the People's Republic of Illinois. But that doesn't happen in small town Missouri, right? That doesn't happen in small town Oklahoma. Well, in fact, yes, it does. And we knew that it did. And now we have more evidence of that. So parents in Bourbon, Missouri were very upset when they figured out that the schools were distributing this questionnaire from the Department of Mental Health, asking the children if they wanted to be a different gender and about their home life and about drug use and about all these same types of things. And so we have a twofold problem here. On the one hand, you have the schools and ultimately the government gathering all sorts of information that they have no business having, period, right? It's not their business what's going on in my child's head, what's going on in my child's home. That is not the school's business. On the other hand, we also have the problem of, what they're doing with this data. We know they say specifically that they're going to use it to plan interventions, right? And there's, of course, incentives for the schools to treat your child as if he or she has a mental health problem. And then, of course, we have another issue, which is that these surveys get the children thinking in these terms, thinking that it's normal, that their friends are also wondering whether they were born in the wrong body, whether they were actually a girl trapped in a boy's body or a boy trapped in a girl's body. These are ludicrous things to have 10 and 11-year-old children thinking about, and yet that's exactly what these questionnaires promote, and the schools know it, and the government knows it, and there's no question in my mind that it's deliberate.
And that's what's amazing to me. We're asking kids this young, without any parental consent, without any ability to opt out, we're asking kids this young if they're comfortable with their gender. Would they like to change genders? What absolutely staggers me, Alex, we would never in a million years, these progressives, start by asking kids, are you comfortable with us asking you about sex? Are you comfortable at age 11 that we're going to give you a survey about your sexuality? I would bet my bottom dollar that the vast majority of these kids would say, no, I'm not comfortable with this. No, I'm not comfortable in fourth grade discussing homosexuality with you. But we never ask that aspect of it. We have completely taken away, not just from parents, but from kids as well, their right to opt out of any of this nonsense.
That's right. And, the story that I got in the pipeline right now, this is going all the way down to kindergarten. They want to start getting the children thinking in terms of gender ideology and, am I the right gender? Gender is a spectrum and a social construct and all this stuff. It really is, in my opinion, just incredibly evil, incredibly harmful to these children. And it's happening on an industrial scale. And I can't imagine why parents are continuing to allow this to happen to their children. This is the tip of the spear for a much broader assault on America, on liberty, on the Judeo-Christian foundations of our civilization.
Mom and Dad America, I am talking to you now. Do you understand what just happened here in tiny Bourbon, Missouri, not in the middle of Los Angeles, like Alex said? You have the public schools partnering with a state board of mental health, two entities which your taxpayer dollars fund exclusively, and you weren't consulted. Kids as young as 11 years old being given surveys that you weren't notified about, that they could not opt out of, that are absolutely intrusive, that gather all sorts of data on your kids, again, without telling you. And finally, when this school was confronted about this, they lied. The administrator said that, kids were able to opt out of the test if they wanted to. And when the kids were asked, they said, no, we were told if we didn't fill out these surveys, we would be in trouble. So they're lying to your face on top of everything else. Are you ready now to get your kids out of these schools? What excuse can you have to continue to keep them in those schools?
That's exactly right. And this is the same thing we see every time a scandal like this erupts. When it leaks out to the press, when the kids tell their parents, the school district says, oh, yeah, it's just a big misunderstanding. Sure, they were allowed to opt out if they wanted. Then the kids say, no, we were told we were going to get in trouble. So same thing. Then say, oh, we won't do it again. And they're going to be doing it again in a couple months, maybe next year. So this is the same thing that we see over and over again. And unfortunately, as long as parents keep feeding their children to the schools and parents keep feeding their tax monies to the schools, we're going to see more and more of this until parents rise up and say, enough is enough. You're not doing it to my kid.
Yeah, and you should really be frightened, because Every now and then, an incident like this leaks out. But how many schools in how many cities in how many states across this union are these kinds of things and worse going on every single day? And mom and dad never hears about it. The kids don't talk about it. That you should be more worried about what doesn't get to you, mom and dad, as opposed to every now and then when this stuff is made public. Alex, thank you again for another harrowing but altogether necessary takeaway. We'll be talking to you soon. If you enjoyed that video, please consider following us online and also consider a tax-deductible donation so we can continue to produce quality videos like the one you just watched. I'm Dr. Duke. Thanks for watching.